Uganda, the country. We lay our future in their hands. United, free for liberty, together we always stand. Mungu tauma ulinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the Fourth Estate. This morning you have a high-powered delegation you can see, led by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, the Honorable Sanjay Tana, the Chief Executive Officer of Public Sector Foundation, Mr. Stephen Asimwe. We'll be talking about the forthcoming conference, Annual Regional Industrialization Conference, and other national business. May I call upon Stephen to take charge of this session and introduce everyone in your delegation, and then proceed from there.
Thank you very much, Dennis. The Honorable Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Honorable Sanjay Tana, my colleague, Mr. Simon Kaheru, from the East African Business Council, who represents Uganda, Mr. Inaviona from the Ministry of Trade, my colleague, Julius Yaruhanga, the Director for Policy at PSFU, Mr. Samora Machel, from the Uganda Tourism Board, representing the CEO, colleagues from UNBS and Ministry of Trade, the Fourth Estate, who are my former colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Minister, you're most welcome to appreciate and grace this occasion. Time is not of good stead for us. It's 11:30. I know that newsrooms need news, so I'll be brief. The reason we are here, Honorable Minister and members of the Fourth Estate, is to announce a very big event that is going to shape the destiny of industry, of trade, of investment for Uganda and the East African community as we know it. Honorable Minister, we are here to announce the 3rd Annual Regional Industrialization Conference. We know it as a RIC, Regional Industrialization Conference. It's going to take place for 2 days on 18th and 19th of August, which is next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. In this conference, and on behalf of the Private Sector Foundation, which is a convener, partnering with the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives and our colleagues from across the region, we are going to convene many players in the industry space, and our theme this year, Honorable Minister and members present, is unlocking industrial competitiveness through innovation and regional value chain integration. Now, why are we holding this conference? Number one, Honorable Minister, Uganda currently is the chair of the East African community. And by extension, you are the chair of the Council of Ministers of Trade and Industry. And by extension, Uganda's private sector is taking lead in creating an enabling environment for industry to talk to each other. We are creating a forum where the total combined population of the Eastern African region is about 400 million people. We have trade between the East African members about $20 billion. We are part of the Africa Continental Trade Area. And unfortunately, only 20% of East Africa's agricultural output is processed locally. Now we have a challenge of importing goods from outside, and yet we can actually import internally. The intra-African, East African region can trade with each other. So we have decided that because we are not talking to each other, we are not processing with each other, we are not supporting each other enough, through the East African Business Council, we have invited all the players in industry. And by this, I mean our colleagues from Kenya, the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, the Rwanda Private Sector Alliance, the South Sudan Chamber of Commerce, and other regional players. We've invited them in the room. And number one, we are going to champion industrial dialogue. What do I mean by that? We want industries to speak to each other, willing buyer, willing seller. And we've invited the top players in the East African region. Number two, where we have challenges, Honorable Minister, we have also created an investment forum where players come in the same room and see where can we do joint ventures. Number three, we are saying if the problem is having challenges with the different governments, can we have a government or G2G policy roundtable to address specific challenges that are taking place? Number four, because we are in industry, seeing is believing. So we've set up an exhibition and trade fair where people will come and display their different products, product ranges, technologies, so that people can actually see and buy. And then, of course, Honorable Minister, in this big event, we have many what we call value chains. In the room, we have agro processors, we have food manufacturers, we have leather and textile industry players, we have pharmaceuticals, we have petrochemical players, energy, steel, construction, logistics, transport. Everybody is going to be in the room. And therefore, why are we doing this? Honorable Minister, the government that you're representing here has come up with a very ambitious plan of the ATMs, agricultural, agro-industrialization, tourism, that's why we have UTB, manufacturing, services, STIs, and all of this is in the context that we are going to have all these people speaking together so that we can then create that tenfold growth. As I conclude, Honorable Minister and members present, we are again using this platform to invite serious industrialists, manufacturers, processors, people in logistics, the financial players that support the financing of all of these engagements. For purposes of the media, we are going to have over 500 business players. Over 10 countries are coming. We have 40 regional speakers. And then the structure and the design, we shall have the plenary sessions, but we shall also be having side meetings where people can actually meet and speak to each other. As I conclude, I want to thank you, Honorable Minister, and also take this opportunity to congratulate you for having assumed a very important office. And very important because our minister is a businessman first. So he understands business, he understands industry. We couldn't have had a better minister at such a time as this one. And so you're coming to take over the leadership of the ministry. In our view, is we really take it seriously because you are our member also. You are a member of the Private Sector Foundation. So seeing one of ours in this place is actually an endorsement that business is going to take off. So we thank you very much for coming, our partners, our colleagues. I then open the floor now to Mr. Simon Kaheru to come and take over and speak into the East African Business Council and the preparedness that we have put in place to ensure that this conference is a success. Thank you very much.
Our CEO, Private Sector Foundation, thank you very much. Honorable Minister, members of the media fraternity and private sector champions present today, chief amongst whom is our minister, as Stephen has stated. It's a great pleasure for me, of course, to be here today to make a few remarks about the Regional Industrialization Conference and especially our East African imperative as we go into it. But first, I must congratulate you, Honorable Minister, and through you, Uganda, for hosting this Regional Industrialization Conference 2026. It's very, very important for us as a country before I go into the rest of East Africa. And it's on that note that I'd like you, Honorable Minister, to please convey our gratitude to His Excellency the President, who is the chair of the Heads of State Summit, because this, as Stephen has stated, is indeed a landmark. But also, please thank him for appointing you Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, because the truth is he could not have done a better job. Even if he had appointed me, I don't think we'd have been as happy as you being our minister this season. Please clap for the minister. Honorable Minister, our president is a very wise man. We've always known this. His wisdom is showing not just in appointing you, but for all these years championing East African regional integration as an essential part of Pan-Africanism, Pan-African growth, the growth of this continent, the growth of our continental economy. And the president himself is one of the champions of private sector growth, industry and development. And as Stephen has stated, it has been one of the crucial, let's say, pins of Uganda's economic growth. Now, the Regional Industrialization Conference that we're holding this year is going to be another great step in the direction that we, all of us here as Ugandans, but also East Africans, need to take in order to move this economy into its rightful place. Honorable Minister, the media, very important people in our lives. Today, I'd like to quote from an article that has run in the New Vision. And I'd like everybody to please read that article by the Acting Director General of the East African Development Bank. I'll read one specific paragraph from that article. What determines whether capital stays, compounds, and generates broad-based prosperity is the depth of the region's economic integration. The depth of the region's economic integration. The actual infrastructure, policy architecture, and financing mechanisms that allow goods, services, and capital to move across borders with predictability and low friction remain the defining test. The actual infrastructure, policy, and financing mechanisms. Honorable Minister, very many clever people, like the DG of the East African Development Bank, Mr. Stephen Asimwe here, yourself and the President, have identified regional integration as our imperative. Without it, none of these countries is going to go anywhere. The President has always stated that dwarves fighting amongst themselves cannot achieve anything. They remain short. The imperative that we are pursuing here is running as a regional economic community that brings together the entire power of this private sector that exists in all, now there are going to be 10 countries, because we are looking at Ethiopia as well. And this year's Regional Industrialization Conference is going to give us another great opportunity to work together, private sector and public sector, to speak the same language, to combine our businesses, our finance, our capital, our resources as the private sector in all these different countries, so that we increase productivity, production, manufacturing, employment, wealth, and prosperity in East Africa. For all these Ugandans who are here in the room today and those watching, as well as all the East Africans around the region. As our CEO has stated, we're doing a lot of work. We have already done the work in inviting, mobilizing people to come and attend. But what's going to be most important is for us to explore these opportunities for more co-investment, increase market access into the rest of the continent through the AFCFTA, and then to grow that opportunity into real growth, productivity, and profit. Because it is this profit that is going to keep growing these economies, whether through tax revenue, increased employment, or prosperity. And that's why today, through our media friends here, we're inviting all Ugandans, all East Africans, to please show up next week for the Regional Industrialization Conference. If you can't attend physically, follow the proceedings, watch the discussions, take the lessons, listen to the wise people who are going to be in those rooms, and then prepare to take part in that economic growth that's going to result from the conference activities. Because this event is going to be another step, another strong step in building the prosperity of the East African community through private sector activity. And that's why we thank you, Honorable Minister, for putting your foot forward, not just as a business person, but as a lead politician in growing trade and business and private sector activity in Uganda. And we thank the President for also allowing this conference to take place, giving it full support. And we urge you to please don't take your foot off that pedal. This economy is going to keep growing, and believe it or not, East Africa is going to be on the lips of the entire world in 2 years to come. Asante sana. Thank you very much. I'd like to invite, yes, our colleague from Uganda Tourism Board to please come and also invite people to the conference and to visit Uganda. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, our CEO, PSFU, Mr. Asimwe, who also doubles as my mentor in the tourism space, and also the honorable delegates that have been here before, and also the media. A very good morning. Samora Machel Samakula is my name, Deputy CEO, Uganda Tourism Board. I'm here representing two spaces. Honorable Minister, Uganda Tourism Board is in charge of tourism, but also is in charge of championing MICE, that is meeting, incentives, conferences, and events. Whenever we see such conferences, events coming to the space of the country, it is really our pride as the board to see that we really speak about the economic value and the sense that such conferences bring into the country. I bring you greetings from Juliana Kagwa, the CEO of Uganda Tourism Board. And from where we are seated as Uganda Tourism Board, one thing we can say that the moment we talk about the third annual regional conference that's coming through, we see a lot of timeliness in terms of the theme. When we talk about unlocking industrial competitiveness through innovation and regional value chain integration, this is the right time now for us to see as tourism as an ecosystem. How do we now unpack and bust the tourism bubble to also feed in the rest of the other industries? You'll see that all that the PSFU CEO has talked to in terms of who are the industry captains in the room, all these feed into one ecosystem, and all these contribute to the tourism space. For us to bring the discussion home and drive, you find that a single conference that comes to Uganda, we're talking about a value of about $407,000 US. Here, where you're simply looking at, on average, every single person that comes into the country for a conference ideally spends about $475 US, meaning that the game at hand for Uganda Tourism Board is how do we now convert the numbers that are coming through the conference now to be now more of incentive buyers. So one thing that we are coming now to really contribute and put a hand to this conference is to see that how do we now make the participants also be part of the more of the experientials for the country. So we have to ensure that all the participants coming to the country are really given time to see that they also experience the other sides of the country to increase value and volume for the country, but also to increase the stay and spend for Uganda. So therefore, it's our humble commitment as Uganda Tourism Board to see that we are part of the third annual regional industry conference 2026 and see that we convert the numbers to become a more tourism hub. Thank you so much for God and my country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Samora Machel. It's now my singular honor to invite the Honorable Minister to give the speech and the press release for today. Thank you.
Good afternoon to you all. I am extremely pleased to be here today after quite a long time. I want to thank the CEO of the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda for inviting me here today. I want to also thank the management of the Uganda Media Center for hosting us and for mobilizing all of you. I want to thank the gentleman from Uganda Tourism Board, Mr. Samora Machel. I also want to thank the private sector representative from the East African sphere, Mr. Simon Kaheru, and all of you distinguished ladies and gentlemen present here today. My task here is simple, is to request the business community to come and attend, to come and support the Uganda Industrial Conference, the Regional Industrial Conference that is going to be held in Uganda. It is a regional conference that encompasses 10 countries now, and the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda has been leading this initiative. As a ministry, it's our responsibility to support them, to stand by them, to prop them, and to assure the population that Uganda is ready for business. As a government, we are a new cabinet, like many of you know, and I want to thank my brothers here for congratulating me on my appointment. I would also like to take this opportunity, as it's my first chance being here at the Media Center, to use this opportunity and thank His Excellency the President for this appointment to this very, very important position. I have been introduced. I hold many caps. One of the caps is I come from a very small town, small dusty town at the border of Uganda, the most eastern part of Uganda. For those of you that have never been to the eastern border, there is a town called Tororo, and that is where I hail from. So I'm a small boy from a small town. That's my first cap. The second one is that I am a businessman, like has been introduced. I have also played a role in industry and several other organizations. I've also been a member of parliament for 10 years, and now I've been appointed to cabinet. So having played in all the spheres that are going to fix or facet into this conference, it gives me great joy and pride to stand before the nation here today, represented by you, the media broadcasters, and tell the population within the East African community and the member states that we are ready to host you come 18th and 19th September. The preparations are well in advanced stages, and we are, as a government, have been running under national development programs. So my predecessors, and under the wise leadership of His Excellency the President, have been running the country using the National Development Plan. So we have a National Development Plan. We started from NDP 1, National Development Plan 2, National Development Plan 3, National Development Plan 4, which is the current National Development Plan. Under the National Development Plan 4, the government has identified 4 pillars of growth that are going to propel us as Uganda, as a nation, as a region, from an economy that is currently about $69 billion in GDP to a tenfold, we're calling it the tenfold growth strategy, to a GDP of 500 billion by 2040. Why 500 billion? Because we believe that the enablers are in place. There are quite a number of pessimists who move around saying, if it took you 40 years from where you were to reach 69, how do you expect to go tenfold growth? And I want to explain to you, my brothers and sisters, so that you help us explain to the nation and our friends in the region. In 1986, when we used to drive from Tororo to Kampala, it used to take about 8 to 10 hours. You're driving from one pothole to another pothole, and the roads were almost non-existent. Security was a problem. If you moved even with a bicycle past a barracks or a roadblock, they would keep it. If you had some sugar, which at that time Uganda did not produce, we had to get it from our neighboring countries. Cooking oil used to come as USAID labeled tins. The salt that we used to eat was crushed, the ones you feed your cows nowadays, and several other commodities. The posho was yellow. When we went to school, we used to eat yellow posho. And the story goes on and on. So from that situation of having no road network, today we have tarmac roads from border to border. Swam, which is our border in Sebei, to Mutukula in the southernmost part, Buera in the western part, Elegu in the northern part, Busia and Malaba in the eastern part. All our border posts have tarmac roads. The entire nation is crisscrossing with good trunk roads. Security from border to border, we are fully covered, and there are no businesses. No businesses can survive, whether industry or even a duka cannot survive if there is no security. So we want to thank the NRM government and under the leadership of the CDF for the security and all the other security forces, for the prevailing security to enable us, to give us an enabling environment to do business. You look at power. There was a time when all these gadgets were being run on a generator, and we didn't have power. Today, Uganda has excess power. We are saying we are ready to welcome more industry, and we have the available power to run these industries. When you look at access to clean water, access to Medicare, access to education, when I went to Makerere College School in 1986, when after the takeoff, we were the students that started A-level in March. And I want to tell you that Makerere was graduating only 860 students. In the whole of Uganda, we had only one university. Now today, I see you young people, because of the enabling environment that the NRM government has created, we have more than 55 public and government institutions that are graduating close to 300,000 students every year. So we have the manpower that is required to run these industries. We have the manpower that is there to enable, and under the NDP4, we are saying that if you look at each enabler of industry or each enabler of business, we are right up there. We are ready. If you look at finance, if you look at the profitability, if you look at costs of production, we are among some of the best, we reflect among some of the best figures within the region. We have regional access to all our neighboring countries. We have enabling weather. We have access of food crops, cash crops, and the industrial products that are made within our country. I will share with you that over the last several years, the government has been able to achieve success, tremendous success in various verticals. For example, at one time, Uganda was a net importer of sugar. Today, Uganda is a net exporter of sugar. What does that mean? We have enough sugar for ourselves here, and then we are even able to sell to our neighbors and other countries. We are a net exporter of milk. As a child, those of you, these ones that are my age, Stephen and Simon, will tell you that we used to drink milk from Denmark, Holland. They used to bring us powder milk. And now today we are the ones selling powder milk to these countries. So there are very many verticals in which we have been successful in the steel industry, in the pharmaceutical industry, and there are many other industrial verticals that the government is working on. And I want to assure you that with the present environment, it is going to be very easy for us to grow this growth process into tenfold. I also want to assure you and the population out there within the region that we have some of the most conducive tax infrastructure to attract any investments that are there. My ministry and my colleague ministries are ready to receive you. When you come, we will be there to receive you and make sure that we facilitate your wish of investing in this country. We have the ATMS, and we would like to encourage the people that want to stick to our program, and we want to welcome them. The ATMS stands for agro processing. So agro processing includes but not limited to making flour out of matoke, processing honey. More than 40% of the honey on the global market today is synthetic. Synthetic meaning artificial, manufactured in laboratories. Uganda has honey that we are letting go to waste. We need to process this to take it to those outside countries. Shea butter, as a ministry and as a government, we have registered the nilotic shea seed. Nilotic because it grows in this geographic location. West Africa has perfected the use of shea butter as a cooking oil, but we want to encourage ours for cosmetics because the women now no longer want to use cosmetics out of animal fat or petroleum jelly because they know that petroleum jelly is carcinogenic, and therefore shea butter, cocoa butter, aloe vera, avocado oil are something that is the green gold, and we are promoting all these in agro processing. Like I've already mentioned, we have people who are involved in the milk chains, in the sugar cane, in the cocoa, and we are saying that there is still opportunity for much more agro processing industries, fruit processing, to help Uganda grow the export market. I also want to encourage people like our colleague from tourism has said, Uganda is unique. God has blessed us, and we are unique not only by weather, but by many other factors. We have 3 unique selling points that no other country in the world has. One is that we are home to source of the Nile. 2 is that we are home to the endangered species, the silverback gorilla, which is predominantly found in Uganda. And 3, the Rwenzori Mountains, which is the only snow-peaked mountain that sits on the equator. So with all this, and of course, you have the big 5, the wildlife in the Murchison Falls National Park, Queen Elizabeth. Recently, we have opened Kidepo, and quite a number of other tourism activities that are growing in the country. So we want to encourage our participants that when you come with a few extra days to experience the ride on the Nile amongst the hippos and the crocodiles as you go to the foot of Murchison Falls. I also want to encourage investors to come and invest in the tourism sector. We have all the opportunities. Our teams are ready, and we have some of the classiest facilities that match any world-class facility on any part of the globe. And with the good network and good infrastructure, etc., you will have one of your lifetime experiences. On the other point, I go to the next point, which is mining. As a country, we are almost virgin at mining sector and mining development. But like many of you know, we are about to touch the first oil. We have started exporting gold, which is one of our largest foreign exchange earners. There is tin being processed. There is wolfram. There is lithium. There is vermiculite. Copper and cobalt are on the way coming. And therefore, as a country, we are set to benefit from the mineral processing. We are going to be ready to encourage any global firms that want to come and partake of the mining sector in this country, because it's one of the key pillars that we are looking at as the growth sector. Lastly, amongst the four is science, technology, and innovation. Today we have some of the finest internet speeds in the country. We have one of the strongest national fiber backbones that is spread across the country. We have some of the most educated population. We have some of the most well-spoken English-speaking population in the world. And I think we are ready to host BPOs, call centers, and various other programs that come up with the technology development, like AI. Our schools are teaching all these programs, and we believe that with the brains we have, the young population we have, more than 70% of our population is young, and we believe that we are ready to take charge of that. So as government, we have set the enablers, we have set the priorities, and we request that you, the investment community, come to this country and see for yourself on 18th and 19th September, and we shall be there to facilitate your investments and your wishes. Our teams, with the CEO and his teams, my ministry, and all the other ministries that I represent here, because we are no longer working in silos, and we've agreed to work as one government, and therefore, whether it's Ministry of Lands, Ministry of Science and Technology, or any other ministry, including agriculture, we will be there to make sure that your businesses are facilitated adequately. As I wind up, I want to tell you that the government has invested heavily in Uganda Airlines. It's one of our key, we have paid already, but like many of you know, aeroplanes are not like mobile phones that you go and pick from the shop. You pay, then they start making. So within the next 2 years, we're expecting 2 cargo planes, and then we'll keep on getting the others. So as we sort out the bottleneck for the export for horticulture and fruits, fresh fruits and horticulture to the global markets, we are also working very, very diligently and hard to make sure that our standard gauge railway, the railway, to facilitate movement of cargo from here to the coast is almost complete. The meter gauge railway, is almost complete. The standard gauge railway, the work has started, and therefore we are going to be sorting out that bottleneck as well. I want to encourage each one of you in your various media houses to not only stop at posting this news on your TVs and radios, but to use the World Wide Web, post it on social media, post responsibly, because you may not believe or be a supporter of the NRM government, but I plead with each one of you to be Ugandan first, because this is about Uganda and it's not about an individual. I beg to submit. I say this all for God and my country.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. At this moment, allow me to invite Mr. Simwe to receive questions from the colleagues in the media.
Thank you.
And then we have Uganda after.
Thank you very much. Let's give another hand clap to Honorable Minister. The Honorable Minister, in my view, has comprehensively covered everything over and above what we had stated. We came here on industry, but he's given us an ecosystem. Given us transport, logistics, conducive environment, taxation. I'm a media person for 22 years. I think that everything has been covered by government and the private sector.
Definitely.
Is there anything burning?
Okay.
And within the context, because I wanted us to leave so that you have this document, this event
You come,
on air,
come. We are going to do it from here.
so that we manage it. Then we have a very serious Uganda speaker, and the minister is going for another event, so I really want to, we are pressed for time. And please remain in the context of the conference.
Thank you, Stefan.
Nothing beyond. Yes.
Thank you, Stefan. I understand when you say that you've been in the media for 22 years, they tell you when you get the opportunity to meet the president, you ask all the questions, isn't it? Thank you so much. Now that the Honorable Minister is here with us, welcome aboard. I understand that you know that your docket for so long, people who are dealing in rice are complaining about permits. People who are at the border of Mutukula are saying that the Ministry of Trade only gave out 20 permits to companies, and they have failed to bring in the rice in the country. Last week on Friday, they had a standoff. The cars have been there since 27th. As the ministry, do you know about this, and what interventions are you doing? And also in that regard, they are saying that the people who have the permits are charging them 18,000. Yet they're supposed to pay less money, and then URA is not in the know of that.
Which media house?
My name is Raymond Tamale, and I work with NTV.
One more, and minister has a flight to catch.
My name is Isabel Nakiria from CGTN. About sugar exports. Exporters are also crying. Kenya has locked them out. And they say they have talked to the Ministry of Trade and they have not received any answer. Could you have any response on that? And also, the East African community, there's a push for a common currency. Could this be a reality? And Honorable Minister, you as a businessman, you've traded before in different currencies. How has this affected your business, dealing in different currencies all the time, when a common currency could be a reality soon? Thanks.
Thank you very much. I think we'll give the minister a chance, but on the issue of, we have something called non-tariff barriers, which is basically people blocking products that are one of the key areas we are going to address, Honorable Minister, at the conference, is that us as private sector players, it has been an ongoing war. So in the conference, we are going to spend some time discussing how to manage non-tariff barriers, those things that are blocking or impeding trade. That's a good question. We are going to address it, but let me allow the Honorable Minister to come. And after him, Samora come. Give 5 minutes in Uganda, and we take off. Thank you.
You see, I've not been in the media for long. While I was in Parliament, I used to engage the media quite a bit. But I see some familiar faces, but most of the faces are new and young. The gentleman from NTV, you appear to be senior. And I want to encourage, especially media houses, to avoid being inflammatory in the way you report. Because the question you have asked is partially true, but spiced up to sensationalize the news. So allow me to report to you that what you are saying is partially true, but it is extremely unfortunate that you are representing one of the leading media houses in East Africa and you are behind news. We are all aware that my ministry is mandated with regulating trade. And within the ministry, within government, we have what we are calling import substitution. So we look at a global picture, a bird's eye view of what products are we importing from outside countries that are affecting our balance of payment. For those of you that don't understand balance of payment, it means the amount of money, the difference between the amount of money you use to import and what you are exporting. That is called balance of payment. So a country's balance of payment can be positive or negative, depending if you are importing too much or exporting too much. Now, in this particular case, we looked at a various product range, and we found that a few years ago, and those of you that are old enough will remember that the government had an initiative of promoting upland rice. Like currently they are promoting cocoa, coffee, banana as one of the cash crops. So at that time, we promoted upland rice. And Uganda's upland rice production had gone close or equal to the amount of rice that Uganda needed. Now the current situation is that Uganda's rice production has remained stagnant, but the rich people have increased consumption. And therefore, we are having a shortfall in our requirement of rice. The question is, can Ugandans produce rice? So my ministry held a meeting with Uganda's rice producers, and Ugandans and foreigners who have invested their money in Uganda to process this rice. We have facilities like Kibimba that are world class, that are producing Tilda rice, that have been taking rice to the shelves in UK, Europe, and rest of Africa. We have a farm being run by a Chinese, state of the art in Lukaya. I want to invite you to go and visit it. He's using drones to spray that rice and keep it, and he grows and is harvesting every day and processing that rice that comes to the supermarkets, and quite a number of other producers, including Philip Draw. So they came to us and they said, look, you are killing our investment by allowing this cheap rice. We held a meeting with URA, and URA said, yes, there is a problem that is coming from Tanzania. These people are smuggling foreign rice, rebagging it in Tanzania, and bringing it into Uganda to evade taxes. And it is a clique of a few individuals that are in the power corridors. Remember, the president has mandated us as Kisanja hakuna kulala, Kisanja hakuna ufisadi. No bribery, no corruption, and no sleep. We are here to develop our country. So for your information, it is true those trucks were there 2 weeks ago. They are no longer there because I signed a 2 weeks moratorium to allow all those people who had bought rice, Simani, they bought rice in gardens and what, and we have told them, okay, you bring it, but we are going to subject that rice to a test. We have the machines in Namlonge, we have the machines in Narok that can check whether this rice actually was grown in Pakistan or in India, or it actually grew in Tanzania. We are not going to allow the foreign rice to come and evade taxes when they are branding it as an East African product. And it is not affecting the price, the shelf price of rice from Pakistan and India. The prices are the same. The shortage is of these smugglers, the people who are misbehaving with URA. So this information is very important. And my brother from NTV, I request that you report this correctly and tell them that they have 2 weeks to resolve whatever they were doing in the past. We are going to facilitate genuine people. Yes, we had started. By the time the issue was reported to the bosses in government and corridors of power. We had issued 20 permits. So far, we have issued 25, and our offices are still open. There is an online application system. It is transparent, and my office is also open. We are going to facilitate the genuine people, but those that are trying to manipulate the system and bring down the rice production and frustrate our the investors in Uganda will burn their fingers. That one I promise you. On the same issue, I want to report here that there is no rice producer, no rice importer that has come to my office and has not been met by myself. I operate an open door policy. I want to invite the genuine people dealing in rice, and we are saying, let's work together to grow our nation together. I want to once again appeal to the media not to be used by these agents who are fighting. Come to our offices. We are forget about the past. This cabinet will answer your questions. So come and ask us. Don't talk like that in the corridors. Don't misrepresent facts. Because like I have said, whatever you print, whatever you post is a world wide web. Buli omu asoma bye muandika. Omuzungu abisoma, omuchina abisoma, muli kutte ensi yaffe. Report responsibly, please. It is a request. I am begging. A very good question. I hope I have exhausted the rice thing. If you have any more additional questions, I'm willing to take. If you want a whole interview, come, I can talk to you for the whole day, as long as you report correctly. And we have capacity to rebut you. And that's why you see sometimes certain security forces are fighting certain media houses because of propagating unsubstantiated and false news. The question asked by the lady is extremely valid. Uganda holds one of the most stable currencies in the region. If you looked at our fluctuation against the dollar, we have been among the most stable currencies in the region. We promote free movement of currency. You are allowed as an investor to bring as much as you want. You are allowed to take. It's a free market economy. As long as it is legal, it belongs to you. We are not refusing you to take your money. Yes, we are members of a law that is a global network, anti-money laundering. And if you are bringing funny money into Uganda, then we will ask questions. But if you have earned money out of your business, the exchange rate facilitates business. Why do business community and investors love Uganda compared to our neighbors? Because we run some of the most stable macro and microeconomic policies when it comes to facilitating production in this country. I thank you very much for, yes, madam. Yes, we are aware that our neighbors in Kenya, again, another example of poor reporting. Yeah, I had forgotten that one. She accuses us of having done nothing and that the sugar exporters have not been told anything. Now, that is not true. I had just been appointed. We were under training in Chankwanzi. The sugar producers and exporters called us and told us that our neighbors, Kenya, have put an excise duty on sugar that is going to be imported into Kenya. So I raised the issue with the minister in charge of East Africa who was with us. I raised the issue with the Minister of Finance. I wrote a letter to His Excellency the President to engage with the head of state, President Ruto, and find out why Kenya has chosen to go against the East African Treaty. I also asked the Minister of State in charge of trade in my ministry, General Mbadi, to engage with our counterpart in Kenya because they were already in talks before my appointment, and they were resolving non-tariff barriers, and the meeting had been held in Mbale. So the reports that came back from General Mbadi is that they are going to consider. We discussed with the sugar producers, and they consulted with us in a meeting, and the chairman of the Uganda Sugar Council consulted with me and said that we are going to take Kenya to court for flouting the law. And I said, it is their own mandate as a sugar council, but as a country, we will stand by our sugar producers. We have engaged using various other routes. We have engaged as the Minister of East Africa. We have engaged as Council of Ministers. We have engaged as commissioners in external trade. Our Commissioner of External Trade went to Arusha. We have launched a formal complaint, and it is work in progress. So for somebody to stand here and say there is nothing done is not true. Those exporters are aware of what is happening. The good news is, as a country, as a ministry, we are not sleeping. Kenya has refused. Just last week, we shipped 20,000 tons using the lake. For the first time, a ship was loaded from Jinja with sugar and has been offloaded in Mwanza, Tanzania. We have engaged with the Saudi Arabians. I had the ambassador visiting my office, and they are willing. We have engaged with the Tunisians. We have engaged with the Qatari. We are engaging with the UAE, and all of them are willing to buy our sugar. So yes, one door may be locked, but there are several others opening. I want to report also here that our relationships with DRC Congo are improving. It is also a market that we are growing. And last year, my predecessors and His Excellency the President were able to export goods worth $1 billion to DRC Congo. So we should not be worried as a nation. As investors that are investing in this country, we promise that we will continue engaging our regional partners. This is not a simple task, because while we are protecting our domestic agricultural produce and industrial produce, we must make sure that we grow our exports. It is not a simple task. Rome was not built in a day. I have only been in office for now 3 weeks. I request that the nation and the people give us time to resolve some of these issues that are historical. I beg to submit and say this all for God and my country.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Engeri gy'okonye ku Luganda, Honorable, mu ddakiika nga 2 wa BBS aleme kuntwala bubi.
Njagala okubasaba, waliwo conference egenda okubeera mu Uganda, Private Sector Foundation of Uganda yeri kugikula okugikulira 18th and 19th 18-19 August. So waliwo ensi za bweru, amakolero agava mu nsi ag'enjawulo gagenda okubeera mu Uganda, bagenda okujja okulaba obusobozi bwaffe, bagenda okujja okulaba embeera yaffe. Ffe nga gavumenti tutegese okubalaga butulina buli ekitaagisibwa okukola makolero, okukola businesses zaabwe okuzireeta wano. Twagala nammwe mutuyambe, mujje mulabe ebigenda okukolebwa, n'okuyamba abamawulire batuyambe okutambuza ekintu kino, tulabe abanamakolero ne bali abayagala okukola, abayagala okuyiga, bajje balabe bayige, kubanga ffe weetuli, gavumenti yo weeri okulaga engeri gundi abantu bayinza okukulakulanya, kubanga tulina ebintu bingi ng'ensi gye tusobola okutunda mu nsi z'ebweru ng'omubisi gw'enjuki nga avocado gundi eno shea butter obutto obuva mu shea seed mu northern Uganda ne eastern. Waliwo ebintu ebingi bye tusobola okukolamu nga twongeramu magezi okutunda mu nsi z'ebweru. So njagala okubasaba mutuyambeko tulabe engeri gye tusobola okuleeta makolero abaana baffe bafunemu emirimu, gavumenti efunemu musolo. Mwebale nnyo.
Ku muceere katono. Omuceere
hili kongamano hili
Wiki ya jana niliandika barua lori yote mwenye inaingia kutoka Kitanzania, lakini tunataka kuhakikisha ati hiyo ni mchele mwenye ilipandwa kwa Tanzania ama hile mwenye URA ilishika ati inajiandikisha ati inatoka Tanzania, lakini hiyo mchele ilikuwa sio ya Tanzania uhakika. So inatakiwa sisi tusaidiane walimaji ya Uganda kuendelea na kulima ya hawa, lakini kama wanajesaidiwa na wenzi yetu na wandugu yetu wenye wanatoa mchele Tanzania. So hiyo mambo nimeshamaliza, nimepatia hawa wiki 2 wakuje wafanye na sisi kwa ministry yetu, tuone namna tunaweza kusaidia hawa kuleta vitu. Lakini wako wale wenye wako clearing agent na wako watu wale wenye wako middlemen. Hiyo watu tunataka kuambia hawa wawache kuharibu biashara, wawache kuharibu kujenga nchi yetu. Tusaidiane tujenge nchi yetu. Hile mali mwenye inakosa Uganda tutaileta kutoka kwa Tanzania, hamna shida. Lakini tufanye pamoja, tuone namna tujenge nchi yetu Uganda.
Honorable Minister.
Mchere kuva mu nsi ya Tanzania, njagala okubakakasa nga ministry waliwo abatutuuseeko, waliwo twabadde ne meeting ne URA n'awandiisa ebbaluwa nga mbawa wiiki 2 eri mchere ebadde mu transit musobola muleeta. Yes, naye tugenda okugucheckinga kubanga aba URA n'aba Naro betwateekayo basanga muli kuleeta omuchere nga mumutadde mu nsawo nga mugamba mbu ekoleddwa Tanzania, kumbe eri kuva mu nsi z'ebweru. So tuli kubasaba mukole ekituufu, kubanga oba mukole ebikyamu mwaba middlemen ne ba broker ne ba clearing agent, njagala okubakakasa mujja kufiirwa. So mukole ebituufu, ministry yange weeri ejja kubateekako amaanyi eyambe mwe abagala okuleeta n'abali abagala okulima omuchere mu Uganda, kubanga tusobola okulima muchere ogumala abantu abaffe abagala okulya omuchere. Ate mbakakasa mbu sente ebbeeyi ya muchere tenaba okuyongerwa kubanga Pakistan ne India bakyamuleeta eyo tetunaba gikwatako, naye eno kubanga bagala okubba omusolo eri kuyita omutukula tubakuttemu. Ate twagala engeri okulaba gye tusobola okukitereeza. Mutuyambe nga ministry, mutuyambe nga bannayuganda abagala okuzimba ensi yaabwe. Mbebaza nnyo.
Stephen has a few comments.
So thank you very much. We are done, but I wanted to introduce Madam Sylvia Kirabo from UNBS. If you have any questions on standards, she's here. And Madam Doreen Kembabazi from the Uganda Free Zones and Export Authority. If you need to talk about production, free zones, they are here. Honorable Minister, we need a picture with you for the records, for the press. I know they need archives, so maybe Dennis, thank you very much for hosting us, and thank you. If you need any more Uganda, Samora is here.
I think you need to move this there, then we have this as a background.